Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our test in Inside the Crease Hockey last week for hockey playthrough replays on the channel, we're going to step into a much different world as we're moving up to space. Looks like circa 2200, the surface of Callisto, as we're playing game number 5 on my War Room 10 game challenge list, as we're playing Undaunted 2200 Callisto by Osprey Games. This one has us set as the Lunar Front Authority, taking on a local mining branch as the Breakers over the rich mineral deposits on Callisto. In fact, we'll read a little bit of the backstory from the intro for this game. More than a century has passed since NASA published a study hypothesizing that 2 of Jupiter's moons might be capable of supporting life. 2200 CE, surface of Callisto. The Lunar Frontier Authority, LFA, and a local mining branch known as the Breakers are at loggerheads over access to Callisto's rich mineral deposits. While initially an equally lucrative agreement, the LFA began to exert more power and influence over the colony, and the relationship between the two grew more fragile and agitated. Now, tensions are at a breaking point. Protests have erupted, strikes have been held, and contracts have been broken. The LFA has brought in private security forces and repurposed war machines to quell the uprising, while the Breakers have begun to take matters into their own hands. The battle for Callisto has begun. In Undaunted 2200 Callisto, you will command either the Breakers making a stand or the LFA's security forces attempting to bring the situation under control. Across a series of scenarios, you will battle to claim, hold, and destroy certain objectives. Each scenario plays out on a different map, either on the surface of Callisto or in the space stations orbiting above it. You will need to master these territories to gain advantageous positions and achieve your objectives. To control your fighters, vehicles, and mechs, you will be playing cards from your personal deck, but as injuries mount, you will have to bolster your new cards to reinvigorate your tiring forces. And I will mention as well that I am completely new to the Undaunted series, so this will be my first entry into this series. Anyway, so yes, I will be living in the rule book for this game. We are taking on the first scenario of this game. We'll take it by force if we have to. I'm going to be playing as the LFA. I've already got my 4 cards dealt out for that, so let's set the scene for this one. Callisto, IMU Spaceport Gateway Epsilon. Dropship on the ticker, the scanner growled, hoping his shivers in the bitter Callisto cold weren't mistaken by his comrades for fear. 5 minutes out. Let them come, the other lookout said, flexing his hands to work feeling back into them before grasping his nail gun. If they think we're just going to roll over and give them the ice, they're in for a bloody surprise. The first shots will be fired at Gateway Epsilon. Following the refusal of the Breakers to engage in any further negotiations, let alone stop selling the water ice to the Galilean government, the LFA Board of Investigators have voted unanimously on interventionist action in order to protect their profit margin. Citing contract clauses pertaining to a criminal takeover of Callisto's surface, the LFA security firm has been assigned the task of conducting a suborbital deployment and claiming the latest shipment of water ice by force. The shipment in question is being held in cryoblocks in a series of storage silos at Gateway Epsilon, a secondary spaceport linking the Callisto moonside settlements with the orbital stations. A Galilean transporter shuttle is scheduled to take possession of the water ice and shift it into orbit. The LFA, however, has got to it first. Deploying via security dropship on the landing pad to the east of the Gateway's twin storage facilities, a crack force of LFA corpsec and scouts is preparing to establish a perimeter around the spaceport. To the north and south lie seemingly deserted shuttle bays and ware hangars, while the ground in the middle alternates between bare, open dust and ice, and stacks of crates and storage containers. Further west, on the far side of the primary facility, is a collection of minor prefab dwellings and the port's security building. It is here that the Breakers overseeing Gateway Epsilon are gathered. Monitoring equipment has detected the approach of the LFA dropship, and orders from the IMU are unequivocal. The LFA must be stopped from stealing the water ice at all costs. Only through unyielding resistance will the LFA be made to understand that their monopoly is at an end. For the most part, For their part, most of the LFA personnel deploying to the surface expect the breakers to back down, but their own instructions are equally clear. Any resistance is to be met with maximum force. The contracts will be enforced through violence if necessary. That doesn't tear off because of course it doesn't. Okay, so that's our scenario that we're jumping into today. Now the objectives here are the same for both sides. The breakers have to control 5 objective points or neutralize 3 LFA units. The LFA have to control 5 objective points or neutralize 3 breaker units. The objective points look to be based on these points. Let me look here. Probably want the rule book for this one. Just trying to understand as much as I can. Let's see. Board spaces. Okay, so we've got the boundaries of the board, elevation, objective points, which are these. Okay. So if there's a... So you control an objective if you have a control marker on the space worth the number of points displayed. Okay, cover bonus is... Okay, so that's the cover bonus that they've got. So obviously the more spaces we can control, the better off we'll be. Because of course our goal is to control a total of 5 of these objective points. So it looks like our objective points are basically scattered around. I was hoping they'd be all in one place, but of course they're not going to be because that would make life a little too easy. Let's see, those are objective points. 2 is elevations. That's determining the type of dice we roll. Looks like we've got a little bit of higher elevation in there. So as I mentioned, we are controlling the LFA forces. We start off with a Corpsec, a Scout, and a Vulcan in here. Actually, this is all one space from the looks of it. We also got an Artemis, which I'll need a standee for that, and another Corpsec and a Scout. So let's see, what kind of standees do I want for that? Let's see. Okay, so I want two of the clear standees. I thought there'd be some. Oh, I see what they're for. Okay, I got a little bit confused as I was looking at the standee markers. So clear when they're ready, and then there's a red base when they've been suppressed. Okay, that makes sense. So we need 2 of these. Get 1 for Vulcan and 1 for Artemis. I do have my dice tower also just out of shot, but I can bring that in and nothing flat when I need to. I don't think there's anything else I needed to do to set up here. Looks like this is... Okay, yeah, this looks like it's set up based on the... Okay, we got to do a little bit more setup. Normally I take care of all of this the night before, but I didn't this time. So we need... All right, so these are control markers. Looks like we've got 2 in the space out here. And then for the breakers, they need... Looks like the breakers need 3, and the space is right in front of them. So 1, 2, 3. And if I would have been paying attention last night, I would have noticed that when I was doing setup. But I think we've got all of that all ready to go at this point. Okay, so we do need to control a total of 5 objective points, as I mentioned earlier. But I think we are set to at least start this game. Let me see what I've got in hand for starting hand. Looks like I got a bunch of high values in here, along with some extra actions that I can take on the cards. We do have an interference that I can't use. Okay. So we draw cards at the start of the turn. Then we're going to lay out... Let's see, that's the rule book. Here's the solo rule book. Okay, so the way we're going to reveal the initiative bid for the bot is we're going to reveal the top card of their deck. Let's see, I've got a couple of 6s in my hand. I don't think I need to be attacking, so I'll use one of these scouts as a 6 for my initiative bid. Then we'll reveal the top card of the LFA deck, whichever one is higher. Higher to determine initiative? Yes, who selected the higher card. So top card of the Breakers deck is a 7, so the Breakers actually get the initiative. They discard their card. Additionally, if the bot wins the bid, place the drawn card in its play area instead of the discard pile. Oh joy. So we'll designate this. We'll designate the space down here as the play area. And then when the initiative bid happens, both players discard their chosen card. Okay, so I can't use that for the turn. Then the bot will take its turn. The bot draws 3 cards and adds them to the play area. So 1, 2, 3. Yow, they've got some big stuff. So let's see how the bot works with its actions. They might be scenario specific, I'm guessing. Let's see, solo rulebook. So breaker bot procedures. Okay. Let me keep a bookmark right there. So the bot's just going to run through all of its cards most likely. Resolve each card from left to right, one at a time. For each card, check the procedure with the matching header. Find the first numbered clause, okay? Now let's go back to the solo scenario, back to the scenario. All right, so our first card we've got is the squad leader B and C, matching cards in the play area. Inspire next matching cards. Matching cards in, all right, so that should actually be, those should be face up. Fully ready to go. Squad leader C is not in the, okay, hold up. Now I'm getting a little bit confused here. Okay, changes to bot actions. So it resolves. Let's see, breakdown of the bot procedures. Title is the unit. Clause. Okay. Let's see, bot actions. Condition text followed by a colon must be satisfied. Okay, actions to be taken. So what does it mean by matching cards in the play area? Is that based on the unit being there? The condition is false. Card matching the same squad designation, so matching card. So if there's another squad leader, does the inspire action? Well, there's no matching squad leader unit there. So matching control unit adjacent to the unscouted objective. No, that's not there. So bolster 2 in the matching squad. Let's see, does the example of play explain anything? From left to right in the initiative order. Okay, so we actually do that card last. So the interference is just going to bounce off. It's not going to do anything. Then we look at Nail Gunner C, which there is a matching unit there. So for the Nail Gunner, threshold 5, 6, or 7. Okay. Combat actions usually show a threshold, which is the highest total defense value the bot will accept when performing a combat action. There's nothing there to attack right now, so it looks like it's just going to move. Well, it's actually going to roll a d10, find the most dangerous enemy, and and then move 1 unit toward it. So we're going to bring the dice tower, put the dice tower down here. That way it's out of the way. Then I'll grab a D10 with the nail gunner. And we'll find the most dangerous, we'll roll to see what happens with the nail gunner. That's a 2, so it's finding the most dangerous enemy, but they're all... How does it determine most dangerous? So nearest probably random. So it looks like the nail gunner is going to be moving 1 unit toward it. So when the name of an action is followed by X, move the unit's combat counter. Okay, so it's just moving. It looks like the nail gunner is just moving 1 unit out. So the nail gunner is done. Squad leader C is not on the board. So for a squad leader, matching cards in the play area, no. Matching control unit adjacent, no. Bolster 2 and matching squad, they've got C's out. So bolster is going to take up to 2 cards from the supply and add them to the discard pile. So are those... So let me look at bolster. When instructed to bolster, roll a die. Roll a die to determine which deck to bolster from. So it looks like these need to be separated. Okay, so let me just get those. I thought they were all one deck. So interference looks like it's its own deck. Then we've got C in a deck, and then force 1 in a deck as well. All right, so when we're bolstering in the solo mode, we roll a die to determine which deck we bolster from. Bolster 2 and matching squad. Okay, so it looks like... So wait a second. Roll a die to determine which deck to bolster from according to the table that follows. Okay, still... Oh, probably based on the supervisor. So it looks like it's bolstering from the matching squad. So it's bolstering from squad C. So it's bolstering from there. Place the top card of the deck face up in there. So, okay, so it's bolstering... So it's bolstering 2 from deck C. So we'll just take the top 2. Actually, we'll shuffle these up. Because presumably they're supposed to be shuffled. Whoop. And probably also face down. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So I think the way we're going to do this is, because I'm not going to know which deck is which otherwise, I'm going to take from the bottom. I can see the top card, so what I'll do is I'll take from the bottom. So it's bolstering 2 from the matching squad. So I'll put 2 units in their deck. Squad leader is done. And then the supervisor is going to bolster 3 from which deck? That'll be another D10 roll. Actually, roll a D10 for the supervisor. All right, a 6 means they're going to command 2. Draw up to 2 cards from the deck and add them to the hand. You can play them normally. So we're drawing 2 cards from the Breaker's deck. So draw a card, place it to the left of anything with a lower initiative card. If you would place the card to the left, okay. So we'll place another squad leader B and a nail gunner B. Supervisor's done. Nail gunner B is on the board. So there's no threshold it's attacking. A 9 says it's going to be suppressing 4. Moving, that's a broken rubber band. So that's going to be moving, targeting the most dangerous unsuppressed enemy for a suppress. So when there's nothing, when you perform any of these combat actions, no casualties are inflicted. Okay. So it's looking at the most, so it's suppressing 4, moving to it. Choose any eligible combat counter on the board as the target for the attack. If the combat icon, so it's got to target a personnel unit because it's got the, plus it's got the clear, the symbol on the board. It's got the solid symbol. It's got to target a personnel, so it's moving 4 units, or 4 spaces as the nail gunner B. So probably 1, 2, 3. It's not going to. That seems dumb that it's going to move right into the heart of the lion's den, as it were. That seems like it would be just asking for trouble. Let's see. It takes the lowest total defense value. Most is, oh, I see what there is. It's most dangerous based on. Okay, there's a table based on determining the most dangerous units. I see. Let's see. So the dangerous units are Corpsec with control in an unoccupied controlled objective. So it looks like it's going after a mech. And presumably it is going to go right in there, which seems really dumb, but what do I know? I'm just learning the game after all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, targeting one of the mechs. And total defense, lowest total defense value. When considering enemy units at a lower elevation, deduct 1. When considering higher, add 1. Okay, most dangerous unit. So it's going after a mech. And then suppress. Okay, so actually, no, it's got to be going after a personnel unit. Looks like we've had a Corpsec, and there's 2 in there. So odds it'll go after Y, evens it'll go after Z. Okay, odds is going after Y. Okay, determine the total defense value is going to be a 4 for Y plus, there's no cover in here. No, there is plus 2. So 6 is going to be our cover, or 6 is our total defense. What does the nail gunner have for a range on attack? Or is it all just same space? Combat units have a restricted range. Nail gunner, wish there was a way I could see that. Okay, so we've got that. So we're resolving this card right now. Move, so we can use that for a move, attack, or suppress. Let's see. Okay, so we've got a 6 there. Then we roll the attack dice, determine which type to roll by. So we're at a level target, which means we'll be rolling D10s. We need to determine the value of the combat action, which so be indicated by the value of the combat action. Is that that might be the number, so suppress X. Use any eligible combat counter on the board as the target. So it looks like it's the range. It's based on the, okay, it's not telling me what the combat, actually it might be on the layout of the cards. Actually, either on the layout of the cards or the counters. Let's see, 1, 2. Okay, possible effects from playing the card. Is it maybe explained on the counter, or would that make too much sense? Title, squad, defense, ready, suppressed, friendly defense. And of course it's not explaining it on there. So it might be based on the defense value on the unit, which in this case would be a 4. So I think that's what we're going to go with, even though I'm probably wrong on that. So these need to be, so a number that is equal to or greater. So this needs to be a 6 or greater. And we've got 1 6 in there. So we do have a suppress. No casualties are inflicted. Instead, suppress it. If it was a personnel unit, flip it face down. So we went after Corpsec Y. So now Corpsec Y for us is suppressed. That still seems a little bit out there that they were able to. So suppress 4. Okay, yeah, I don't think it actually moves into the space. That doesn't seem like it would make sense. I think it would have to be in there already. So yeah, I don't think it moves. Now, the more I'm thinking about it, so it tried to suppress, nobody there, so that card doesn't do anything. Then for Squad Leader B, that is not on the board. So Squad Leader, matching card in play area, no. Matching control unit adjacent to unscouted objective, no. Bolster 2 in the matching squad, so it's bolstering in Squad B. So 1, 2. We'll move 2 new units in. Then everything will get moved to the discard pile. And that will be it for their turn. Now for my turn, I definitely want to start moving out a little bit. Unfortunately, I've got an interference card that's going to run interference on that, obviously. Let's see. Scout would let me move out, presumably. Move the unit's combat counter up to X spaces. So do I have a Scout Z on the board? I do. So I'll use the Scout. I'll use Scout Z to Scout 2. I'll bring him out. Do I want to bring him straight to an objective? I could bring him to either one of these objectives, but I think I'm going to have him move up to this objective, actually. Then as soon as he moves in, if any space you move to or through does not contain one of your control markers, place a control marker there with its scouted side up. Which side is scouted side? Let's see, G. Those are the control markers. Okay, so right. All right, so we need 2 more of these because we moved 1, 2. So we're in this space now, so that's scouted. If any space does not control, place a control marker. For each control marker placed, take an interference card and place it in your supply. So I actually need to separate my decks as well. Interference. Let's see, this is deck 1, which is so V and Z, A and Y. Okay. There should be a cap. Oh, the captain's in the deck already. Never mind. All right. All right, so that was the Scout, and I had to grab 2 interference markers and add them to my discard pile. All right. Let's see. Scout. All spaces you move to or through must be scouted or controlled by your faction. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Any space you move to does not contain with its scouted side face up. For each control marker placed. Okay, so we did all of that. Let's see. Then what did I do with our other card? Looks like we're going to be using a Sergeant to bolster. Which bolster comes from, for me, bolster comes from card specifies a squad you have to take from that squad only. So Sergeant Z, I can either use that to bolster 2 in Squad Z or inspire 1 in Squad Z. Choose up to X player cards in my play area and add them to my hand. So I'm going to be bolstering 2 from Squad Z, which I'm going to get, looks like it's 2 Corpse X. All right, that's it for the turn. So after all that effort, that was a round of Undaunted 2200 Callisto. Hopefully, it's going to start making a bit more sense and soon. But we're back to the start of a new round. So first up, we're drawing back up to 4 cards, right? Let's see. The next round begins. So each draw a hand of 4 cards. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So which one do I want to use for we can get these dice out? So which one do I want to use for initiative here? We don't have any scouts. Is that moving the matching unit out? Move the unit's combat counter. If the vehicle... Okay, choose any one friendly personnel unit. All right, so what I need to do is I need to be able to move. Preferably, well, we do have a commander that I can use to move. Let's see. So with the initiative marker plays 1 hand. There's 1 card from their hand. You play a card, use it to do one of the following. Either a card action, ready, okay. I think we're going to use a... Let's see, we definitely have a lot of movement, so I think I'm going to use a sergeant of 7 for initiative. So the breakers do have the initiative right now. Then their next card that they're using for initiative is a 1. It's an interference. So I do get the initiative. Unfortunately, I lose the sergeant for the round. So let's see what I want to do here. Well, we're going to be doing a lot of movement. Oh, looks like we've got a control action where I can use that to flip one of my markers, take control of the space that the unit's combat counter is on. So we've got a Corpsec, we've got a Scout Z out. Do we have to have a unit there? This rulebook is a little bit confusing because it's saying placing combat counters. Okay, so when you take a card action with a combat card and the corresponding combat counter is not on the board, immediately place that, then perform the action as normal. Okay, so I'll use a Commander V to bring that. Wait, what? Okay, something's not right. That's all of the... That's all the counters that are in there. Okay, so now I'm confused because it seems like I'm missing counters at this point. Maybe I have my... Let me look in the box again. Nope, looks like it's all boards. And I know I did a thorough unboxing on this game. So it looks like everything... So if it was in the box, I've already cracked it open and sorted it out. Unless the commander is one of those units I just use for movement or for commanding. Which seems a little bit weird, but I was expecting to see it as a unit as well in the game. So it looks like I'm just using that to do things on the board, because no, I don't have any other units here. And there's nothing else in Breaker Land either. So it looks like I'm just using that to do things with. So that's a support action. Yeah, I don't know. Something's not right here though. Because I don't have any more unit counters. All I've got here are stalkers and mercs. And anything else is already on the board. So it looks like I'm using the commander just for support, which I could either use that to move 1, bolster 2 from squad V, attack 2, or suppress 4. I definitely don't need to do any kind of suppressing. By the way, I do have initiative as the LFA this round. Let's... What do I want to do here? So I've got 2 commanders in my hand, so it looks like I'm using both of them for support actions, which means I will be having the... Let's have a Corpsec Z. Actually, we'll have the Vulcan move out 1. So we'll move that. And then I didn't see there were any cards for the Vulcan, for any of the mechs, which could be a point of... Unless... Nope, no cards for the mechs that I can see here. So it looks like some of these cards are only used for support actions, which is a little bit confusing, I guess, but because the rule book isn't really helping me out with that. Okay, so we just use that to move Vulcan out. Then we'll use Commander A to move Artemis out 1, 2. Actually, no. If I move, I think everything's got to be scouted already, right? Must be scouted or controlled. Yep. Okay, so I can't use Artemis to move out, so I guess I will move Artemis out 1 there. Then I'll use Corpsec Z to move 1. And I didn't need to place any interference markers because I didn't move through anything that I haven't scouted already. All right, then for the bot's turn, they're drawing a card. They are drawing 3 cards for their actions. Right? Yes, draw 3 cards. Okay. Wait, place the highest initiative card furthest left, following cards descending. So I actually did the first round in reverse order. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we've got 2 6s and a 5 using Survey Tech C. So with Survey Tech C, what are the Survey Techs doing? If there's interference in play area, there is not. Shared space with an enemy unit? No. Space secure? They're going to scout. Their space is secure. They're at one of their starting objectives. Or one of their starting spaces. They're going to scout 1, moving toward a threatened objective. Use enemies random as tiebreakers. Unscouted objectives, or space nearest to an unscouted objective. So they're moving toward a... They're not going to be able to scout anything, though, so it looks like he will still presumably move. Okay, so yeah, he will... Yes, Survey Tech C will move out here. Then Survey Tech B will do the exact same thing. They'll move here. And then Ripper B, which is up here, will move 1, moving out there. Presumably move is the Ripper doesn't have control because it can't take control of the unit of the space that the unit's combat counter is on. All right, so it had to move, so it couldn't take control of its space. Space shared with an enemy mech, attacking with 2 dice. Space controlled, enemy occupied, no. Then space secure, moving 1. So, okay, so that's what happened there. So that brings us back to the start of a new round as we're just kind of getting situated a little bit out here. So I will draw my 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, and I've got to shuffle up. So far, my initial impressions are not great. Maybe it's just being so new to Undaunted and being a little bit confused. Maybe it's also using the solo mode as the starting point. I'm getting kind of a Combat Commander feeling from this. And given how I felt about Combat Commander initially when I played it with Jester last year, that is not a good feeling for me to be having. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what I've got here. Well, unfortunately, we didn't get any scouts to be able to take control of the space. I'm wondering if I just bite the bullet and use the interference marker as initiative this round. Actually, they had to start with an interference in their deck, didn't they? Yes, they did, and I think I've only seen 1 come up. So I'm going to use my interference as an initiative card. And then the breakers are using a 5, so they get that as a played card, and they will win initiative on that note. So that gets added to their play area. I'll give this a shuffle. And a cut, and we'll draw 3 more cards. So they've got a 5 out as objective, or as initiative, so they get all of these. Survey Tech B, knock it off, Siri. Survey Tech B, I'm just going to check my phone real quick. All right, Survey Tech B is out first. There's interference in the play area. No, there isn't. Shared space with enemy units. No. Space secure. No, the space isn't secured. So it's going to be scouting 1. So that will be moving to... Looks like scout doesn't change for them. So scout is going to have them moving 1 space. So Survey Tech B is moving up to this space potentially. Threatened objective, yes, it is moving up to that space. All right. Then for Ripper, Ripper is going to try to take control of a space. The space it's in is not controlled, it's scouted. So we'll flip that to its control marker. So that's all Ripper does there. Ripper C is, its space is secure, doesn't have control, not sharing a space with an enemy mech. Space controlled, enemy occupied, no. Space moving toward a threatened objective. So it'll move up here. Then Nail Gunner B, which is on the board, no thresholds, so it's actually rolling for movement since there's nothing to attack or suppress. All right, that's a 10, so it's trying to suppress, but there's nothing. It has to be in the same space, I think. Unless it specifies range. Have a restricted range. Okay, so looks like it's got to be in melee range, so it doesn't move. That's it for the breakers. Now for my turn, let's see what I want to do here. Well, I used the recon or the interference as my card. Let's see. I could use my Corpsec Z to move. Actually, I could use my Corpsec Z to flip the scouted marker here to our controlled side. So that's what I'm going to do with that one. Then Corpsec Y. I can use that either to move. I can use that to move. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use that to move. Then for the captain, I can either bolster 3 or command 2. I'm going to use that to command 2. So I'll draw 2 cards. And I can play these. I've got a Corpsec Z and a Sergeant. So Corpsec Z is going to be... we're going to move Corpsec Z. We're going to move that toward the objective. We can't use that to scout, unfortunately. So I think we will move him toward... I think we will move him toward the objective. Then we'll use the Sergeant. We could use that... Let's see. Choose X cards in your play area and add them to my hand. All right. Bolster. We're going to take up to 2 cards. So I think I will take 2 cards, but I have to take from Squad Z. Let's see. Squad Z is going to be 2 more scouts. So that'll end my turn. I'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4 as we're starting a new round. And I just got another interference, which is kind of a problem. And the breakers just reshuffled their deck. Do I use the interference as an initiative? No, I don't think I want to use the interference again as an initiative. Because on a tie, the breakers would keep the initiative. I think we are going to use our what to do. I could definitely use with I could do with another bolster action. Let's see, I do want the scout. I'm going to probably have to try to have the scout, or probably have the Corpsec try to attack. Unfortunately, I don't have a Corpsec card to activate that to attack with. I do have a commander that I could use for that, though. And I don't want to use that as initiative. I think I will just bite the bullet and use my interference, even though I know full well I'm going to lose initiative here. And the breakers will reveal... They'll reveal a nail gunner, which means they will keep the initiative. 1, 2, 3. They've got a 4 out, 5, 1, and another 4 with nail gunner C. So Ripper C is going to try to control their space. Their space already is controlled. Space shared with an enemy mech? No. Space controlled and enemy occupied? No. Space secure? It's going to move to a threatened objective. So Ripper C is moving up here to our threatened objective. Then Nail Gunner C, there's no threshold there, so it's looking at... So now Nail Gunner C is rolling for an action. right, that's an 8, so it's trying to suppress. That one doesn't do anything. Then for the second nail gunner card, same thing, 9, also trying to suppress, also doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, now we have 2 units we have to deal with. So let's see. Let's see what we want to do here. We could use our commander to attack. Use any... Yeah, I'm still a little bit annoyed that the commander isn't an official unit, a combat unit. Yikes. Let's see here. What do I want to do here? I should try to clear out this objective so I can eventually take that under control. So I think I will use the commander to have this scout attack the... we'll have it attack the Ripper. So for combat, so we determine the total defense value, which is a 4. So it's totally a 4. The scout will be rolling 2 dice, 2 d10s, and we need a 4, and we need a 4 and up. All right, that's a 5, so that is successful, and it was an attack. So your opponent must find a card that matches the attacked combat counter and place it face down on their hand. Okay, so for the bot, search the bot's discard pile for a card with the same name as the unit, as the attack unit, and remove that card from the game. If there are no cards with the same name, search the bot's deck, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we went after Survey Tech. We went after Ripper C, actually. So Ripper C, we've got a card there. We'll put that in a casualty pile way out of the way. Okay, then we've got 2 cards left. So we use the commander to attack. That one's done. We'll use the scout to run it back against the Ripper again. This time we only get 1 die, and it needs to be a 4+. Which that's a 3, so nothing happening there. Then the sergeant, we would have to bolster or inspire from Y. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to inspire from Y, so we'll be bolstering 2 cards from squad Y. And it'll be 2 Corpsec Ys. So we're all done there. That's the start of a new round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gross. Let's see. Scout Y hasn't moved yet. So let's see. Commander would let us attack, as would Corpsec Z. And Corpsec Z's in that space. I think we're going to use Corpsec Z. I do want to get my scout. I don't want to get Scout Y out, moving over to this objective up here. So I'm going to use Corpsec Z as my initiative card. Then for the Automa, they are using a 4, so we win initiative. All right. Then, as I mentioned, the interference in my hand isn't doing anything, so that can get discarded. Then we'll use Scout Y to move him, to have him scout, and scout lets him move. Yep, the units counter up to that many spaces. So 1, 2, we'll bring him up here, put a scouted marker out, grab an interference card in the discard pile. Then we'll use the commander to have, then we'll use Commander V have our Scout attack Ripper C again. So we need 2 dice for this, and they need to be a 4+. Or 1 needs to be a 4+. They both are. So we'll get another Ripper C out of the deck. Right, there's another Ripper C, so that can go away. And that's all done. And we'll draw a hand of 3 cards for the... We'll draw a hand of 3 cards for the Wreckers. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Supervisor is going to make us roll a d10. On a 1, they're bolstering 3 from 8 is Squad C. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3 into the discard pile. So Supervisor's done. Squad Leader C. Matching cards in the play area. No. Matching control unit adjacent to an unscouted objective. Squad Leader C, no. And bolster 2 and matching squad, so bolstering 2 from C. 1, 2. So Squad Leader C is done. And then Survey Tech, or then Nail Gunner B. Has got any kind of Nail Gunner B? No. Well, nope, Nail Gunner B hasn't moved yet. So rolling a d10. For a 2, find the nearest most dangerous enemy, which is probably a mech. So it'll be moving 1 toward Artemis. That's it for the round. This time we start with the initiative. So now I'll give my deck a shuffle. Let's see, Recon. Okay, we haven't had any Recon come up yet. Oop. All right. My deck's getting pretty sizable. Let's see. Okay, we got a lot of big cards. I definitely don't want to use the captain for initiative. Yikes. Unfortunately, we didn't get a scout, so I can't flip this into a control marker. So what do I want to use? Corpsec Z is up here, so I could try to attack again, potentially. Where's Corpsec Y? Corpsec Y is out here. I could use that for control. Sergeant is bolstering from Y, which I do have some Ys out there. Like I said, I definitely don't want to use the captain. Command lets me... Okay, so yeah, I definitely don't want to use the captain, because I do want more cards to go through my deck. I do have a matching card in my play area, so I kind of want to use the Sergeant. Problem is, I really want to use... All these cards are actually pretty useful this turn. So what do I lose for initiative? Probably a Corpsec Y, to be honest. So I'll use a 5 as an initiative. And then for the Wreckers, they are using a 7, so they win initiative. One, 2. Three. All right, so we've got a 7 to start with, and 2 interference cards. Okay, that's very welcome. Squad Leader B Matching cards in the play area, no. Matching control unit adjacent to an unscouted objective, no. Well, not scouted by them, but it has been scouted. Bolster 2 and matching squad, so they'll be bolstering from squad B. Then Survey Tech C, interference in play area. Yes, there is an interference in the play area, so they will get to recon. Which for recon for them, that's just send it back to their supply or remove it from the game. Then draw the top card. Okay, so one of those goes away, and then they draw the top card of the deck. That'll be used next turn, it looks like. Will not be reserved. Okay, so after the start of the bot's next turn, after drawing 3 cards, flip all the face-down cards up. Okay, so that was from Survey Tech C. Okay, so they're done, and then the interference just kind of bounces off. Then for my turn, well, I'm going to start with the captain. Command will let me draw 2 cards. So 1, 2. We get an interference, which does nothing. Then we'll use the commander. We'll use the commander to have the scout attack the Ripper once again with 2 dice. Wow, okay, there's a 10, so that's successful. So we get a Ripper C out of the discard pile, which there's not one there, so we'll go to the deck. There's a Ripper C coming out. We've got 1 more in the deck and 1 more in the supply. We'll bring the deck on camera as I'm shuffling that. Since I did have to search the deck to get a Ripper C card out. Odds are I'm not going to finish this game because I will need to tear this down sooner rather than later to get set up for today's game 5 of the ALCS. I'm not sure what I make of this one at first glance. It is starting to make a little bit more sense, but initially it had a combat commander feel to it, which, as I've mentioned, I didn't like Combat Commander when I played that the first time. Corpsec Z will go after the Ripper again. That's an 8, so we get rid of another Ripper Z card, or Ripper C card. How about the deck? Ripper C, and I think the only one left now for Ripper C is the one in the supply for the breakers. Okay. And then I do have 1 card left, which is going to be either a Bolster from Y or an Inspire from Y. Unfortunately, I don't have any Inspires from Y, so it's going to be a Bolster, grabbing 2 more cards from Squad Y, which will be 2 more Corpsec Ys. All right, that all goes to the discard pile. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start of another new round. Yikes. Well, I'm probably just going to bite the bullet and use an interference here, even though I know I want to get one of those out of my hand. So the Wreckers are going to keep initiative here, finding a 4. So we draw that. Then we draw their 3 cards like normal, and we're going to flip the 1 face up from their recon last turn. 3. All right, so 2 Survey Tech Cs. a Ripper B, then a Nail Gunner. Come on. And another Survey Tech B. Oh, that's problematic. All right, so my interference goes away. So that's their current play order this turn. That's going to be problematic. So Survey Tech C, no interference in the play area. Shared space with an enemy unit. Survey Tech C, no. Space secure. Let's see, secure. If at least one of the following is true. Bot doesn't control it. Bot has combat counters. Player has no units with a control or attack ability that would result in the space being threatened. Okay. So space is secure. So the space for Survey Tech C is secure, which means they will they'll scout to a threatened objective, which right now they're going to crowd into this threatened objective space. That's done. Now there is a shared unit with an enemy, so they're going to attack. They get 2d10s for equal elevation. We've got, which one are they going to target? They're probably going to target the, how do they determine what they target? Lowest defense value, so they're going after the Corpsec with a scout value of a 4, or with a defense value of 4 for total. Okay, that'll be a successful attack. And objective points. Okay, so that's elevation. All right, so that means we lose a, that was an attack, right? Yes, that was an attack. So we have to take a, they're going after Corpsec Z. So we have to take one of those out, and I believe remove it from the game. Must find a card that matches the attack combat counter and place it face down in their casualty pile. Okay. So we lose a Corpsec Z. I'll put the casualty pile for us out of the way. So that one's done. Survey Tech B is also attacking. They're also going after Corpsec Z with 2 dice. That one's going to get rid of another Corpsec Z card. Which I'll have to see if there's one in my deck. There is. All right. So Survey Tech B is done. Now for Ripper B, which is up over here. Let's see. Control the space. It's already controlled. Space shared with an enemy mech? No. Space controlled and enemy occupied? No. Space secure. Move to a threatened objective, which is there a way they can get up there? Yes, there is. So Ripper B is going to move up there. And then Nail Gunner C is not in the space, so no attacking. And the 7 is going to try to suppress, but there's nothing there to suppress. So they're all done. Okay. Now looking at this. Our interference does nothing. We need to get some friendly territory. We need to get some help in there for those guys. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to move any of our mechs in. So I think we'll use Corpsec Z to attack Ripper C again with 1 die. Or with 1 die. That's a 4, so that is going to be successful. And I think the Ripper C in their bolster pile is the last one for them. Looking in the deck. Yep, that will be the last one. That'll be the last Ripper C unit in the bolster supply for them. So Ripper C for the Breakers is now completely out of the game. All right, so that one's gone. Ripper C is out of the game. Then Scout Z. Scout Z is going to attack Ripper B, I think. So Scout Z is up here, going after Ripper B. All right, that one's successful. So we get a Ripper B out of the deck as well. So Ripper B actually comes out of the discard pile. And then that did nothing, so we'll draw 4 cards for the start of a new round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, Scout Z. We could use another attack, start working on another unit. We've got a Scout Y, which wouldn't let us take control of the space. What is Corpsec Y doing? Not a whole lot. So I think I'm going to use Corpsec Y on a 5. Do I want to use that, or do I want to use an interference? I think I'm going to use an interference, actually. Because anything going on here in the middle of the board isn't going to be... Anything going on in the middle of the board is going to be total... There's going to be total chaos anyway. So I know we're going to lose initiative there. Coming out for the Wreckers is a Nail Gunner, so they will keep initiative. Then 1, 2, 3. Yowza. Okay. Supervisor. Let's see what the Supervisor is having them do. 10 is having them command 2. So command for the bot. Drawing 2 cards and adding them to their play area in initiative order, right? Yes. Okay. Oh, geez. Okay. There's going to be a lot going on here for them. So Supervisor is done. Squad Leader C. Where did Squad Leader C end up in all this? Oh, never mind. There's no Squad Leader. Okay, so matching cards in the play area, which matching based on the... Did we say matching based on the squad? With the same squad designation as another card, unit, or spawn marker. So there is another C out there. So inspire 2 and add them to your hand next matching cards. So what changes to inspire? Turn the indicated area sideways after resolving. Oh, so we have effectively resolve it twice. So we're inspiring 2. So we've got the Nail Gunner. So we've got 2 Nail Gunners that are going to be resolving twice. So the Squad Leader is done. Nail Gunner B doesn't have anything to attack. So rolling a D10. A 6, trying to suppress, but there's nothing in the space to suppress. Does move let them move through? Doesn't look like it. I was going to ask if moving lets them move through unscouted spaces, but it looks like the answer, thankfully, to that is no. So that one's done. Nail Gunner C is not in a space either, so it can't attack. And a 6 says it's trying to suppress. The Nail Gunner C again is a 10, trying to suppress, nothing happening. Nail Gunner C is a 4. It's actually trying to move, finding the nearest, the most dangerous enemy. Corpsec Z is right up here. That's the most dangerous enemy, so it's moving up into the Carnage. Then resolving the Nail Gunner, Threshold. Usually show a threshold, which is the highest defense value the bot will accept when deciding whether to perform a combat action. Okay, so on a D10, on a 6, yep, the Nail Gunner is attacking the Corpsec. Gets 2 dice, needs a 4 or higher. All right, that's an 8. That's an 8 and a 5. So Corpsec Z loses a card. So that one's done. And let me finish this round, Doug, and I'll talk a little bit about my initial impressions of Undaunted Callisto. Let's see, Nail Gunner B is not in the space, so it's rolling a D10. Actually, it's probably not doing anything anyway. A 10 is trying to suppress, so not doing anything there. So let me look at my turn. Let's see, we've got a lot going on here. So I'll start off by using Corpsec Y to move. I can't use Scout. Actually, I can't use Scout Y to take control of the space. So I'll have him move into the control space up here. Then Scout Z, I'm going to use to attack Ripper B. Need 1 die, need a 4 or higher. That's a 10, so we get rid of a Ripper B card. See if there's one in the discard pile. There should be. Yep. There's a Ripper B in the discard pile. All right, then we've got our Scout Y, which will go scouting. So, actually, that's a bad plan with that Nail Gunner right there, although the Nail Gunners can go after personnel units. So I guess I will have him move 1, 2 into a scouted space. I do add an interference. All right, so before I take my next turn, let me talk about my initial impressions about Undaunted 2200 Callisto. So far, this one's giving me a lot of Combat Commander vibes in terms of using the cards to control your actions. The problem is that, the problem with that is I didn't really like Combat Commander all that much. If you remember when I played it with Jester back around, I'm trying to think if it was Memorial Day or Independence Day. I think it was Memorial Day when I played Combat Commander with Jester. I was not all that impressed by Combat Commander at a first glance. I don't know, just something about it just didn't click. And maybe it was a performance thing where I was a little bit salty with how things went in that game. But I don't know. This one's starting to make a little bit more sense, but I'm still not completely sure about this one. And I'll mention this toward the end of I'll mention this when I do my retrospective video later this year. But one new category I'm evaluating games on this year on the list is for how much the narrative really pops out in the game. So far, the narrative just isn't really popping out in this one for me. But so initial impressions aren't good. It's also a learning game, so I might be playing into it as well. And it's my first game in the Undaunted series ever. So Doug, kind of take all of that with a grain of salt, but for now, first impressions aren't good. Is kind of where the ramble's going there. Let's see. Do I have a Corpsec Y? I do, so I can take control of this space up here. Which, yep, some games click and some games don't. We all have games like that where some of them are hits, some of them are misses. Like there are games that you think based on everything else, you're like, oh, I should adore this game, but you just don't for whatever reason. Then there are games that you'd never look at in a million years, and you're like, oh my God, this is one of the best games I've played. Let's see. I'd have to bolster from Z with the Sergeant. Do I have Z? I do have a couple of cards from Z. Scout Z, I kind of want to keep the pressure on. So I think I'm going to use my Sergeant as my initiative this round. So that's a 7. Let's see what the bot reveals for initiative. They reveal a 4, so they discard that. We get the initiative. Okay, so let's see what we want to do with that. At least I'm assuming you play cards in any order. One at a time into a play area. Okay. Let's see. Well, we'll use the Scout first of all. We'll go after Ripper B with 1 die. We need a 4 or higher. That's a 4, so we get rid of another Ripper B card from the Wrecker's deck. Which actually seems like we're going after... Seems like at this point we're going after the supply. Okay, we've got 2 more Ripper B cards that we need to go through. This is another thing that's kind of starting to turn me off, is how long it takes to get units off the board, where you need to attack them several different times, which means the scenarios, and maybe it's just that I'm videoing it as well, but scenarios seem to take quite a while. We'll use the commander to move. Let's see, what do I want to move here? Because I feel like I want to move something in. I'm very surprised the mechs don't have any kind of attack dice. That seems... Well, maybe it's fine. Anywho, let's see. What do we want to do here? Do we want to try to make a suppression attack? I don't think we want to do that. I also don't want to put the mech in a space with a Ripper, where the Ripper actually could target the mech. So let me think what I want to do with that. I'll use Corpsec Y, which is up here, to flip that scouted marker to a control marker, so now we control that objective. Okay, so that brings us up to 3 objective points on the scenario. So now what do I want to do with this commander? Do I want to have it continue to attack? Yes, I think I will have it use... I'll have the commander activate Corpsec Z to attack Ripper B. 2 dice, we need a 4+ once again. 2 successes, so we get rid of another card from Ripper B. We get rid of another Ripper B card, which at this point is coming out of the supply. And then we're done. So now it's over to the Breaker's turn. Okay. And there are the 3 cards for the Breakers this turn. Let's see, we've got Squad Leader, Survey Tech, and a Nail Gunner. So Squad Leader matching B. Yes, there is a matching B. It's a Nail Gunner. That's not in our space, thankfully, so that'll be activating twice. Survey Tech C, which is up here. Survey Tech interference in the play area, no. Shared space with an enemy unit, yes. So it will attack. It'll go after, probably after lowest defense. So it'll actually go after Corpsec Z with 2 dice. Actually, with Survey Tech C with 1 die, actually.
What do you want to say to Greg?
Shut it, Siri. Sorry about that. Siri kind of took me a little bit by surprise. Anyway, the 7 is a success against Corpsec Z, so we need to get that out of our discard pile. Assuming I have 1 in my discard pile, I do not. That's a problem. That's got to come out of my supply then. Delightful. So Survey Tech C is done. Nail Gunner B, which is up here, so we'll leave it sideways for the first activation. Nail Gunner, there's nothing there, so it's not attacking. It's also not suppressing. Then on a roll on a D10, so we need to see a 2. It's actually looking for the most dangerous enemy and moving. Where do scouts rank? Scouts are 5. Find the most dangerous enemy. Let's see. Corpsec with control on an unoccupied. Corpsec with control on a non-enemy. Is it going after the scout? It might be going after the scout. Dangerous LFA units. Yeah, it's actually moving down toward this whole mess. So that's what it's doing. And then Nail Gunner B is moving again. It was activating again. We got an Inspire earlier. Nothing in its space to suppress, so that's all done. Then we're starting a new round. As I've got a Corpsec Y card going flying on me. I'll draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely don't want to use the captain. I don't have a Z to bolster with, so Sergeant is probably not that useful. I think I've got V's to bolster with, but I kind of want to use that to attack. Scout Y isn't in the Carnage right now, so I definitely want to use him to get moving. Let's see. Do I want to use the Sergeant for initiative? Let's see. What would bolster give me right now? Take up to 2 cards from my supply and add them to the discard, but that'd have to come from Squad Z. All I've got left right now is a Corpsec Z for a bolster, and I don't think I had anything matching for it to inspire. No. So I'm actually going to burn the Sergeant as an initiative card. So that's a 7, which means the Wreckers have got to reveal something pretty powerful here to take initiative. A 4 won't do it. So I will keep initiative for the round. Now, if I'm scouting, does not contain one of my control markers. All right, I will start by having Scout Y scout 2 spaces, so 1, 2, which means I'll place 2 scout markers and take 2 interference cards. So Scout Y is done. Then I'm going to play the captain to draw 2 cards via command. Okay, we end up with a Sergeant anyway. Then probably just start attacking. I think just start attacking at this point. So we'll use the Sergeant to bolster from Y. which will be 2 Scout-wise. Then we'll use the commander to have the Scout attack Ripper B with 2 dice. 4+ once again. All right, that's a success. That should get rid of the last Ripper B card for them. Let me see if there's any in the discard pile. No. How about the deck? Nope. So Ripper B is officially out of the game. It seems like it takes forever and a week, too, to get rid of these units, which is something else I'm not a huge fan of. We have to get rid of every single card for that unit before the unit's completely removed from the board. Excuse me. See, I think more and more this game is just... This is one that looks like it just doesn't feel like it's clicking for me. And maybe I needed something a little bit more beginner friendly. Let's see, so... Yeah, looks like we've picked up 2 more attacks. So we'll use that to have the Scout go after the Nail Gunner. After Nail Gunner C. All right, that's a 6, so we get rid of a Nail Gunner C. Which, look at that, there's one on the discard pile, on top of the discard pile. Then Scout Y is unfortunately going to forfeit its action. Because I don't want to have it Scout right now and have it be able to flip over this objective space. So actually, wait a minute. Control 5 objective points or neutralize 3 breaker points. Neutralize means to eliminate them completely, right? You must remove it from the board by performing successful combat actions. Okay, so Rippers B and C have been neutralized. Rippers B and C have been neutralized by them. And did any of them get neutralized for the LFA? I don't think so. No. Although Corpse XZ, I think, is starting to get pretty close. So anyway, that's it for the LFA's turn. Now for the breakers. 1, 2, 3. We've got Survey Tech C, B, and the Nail Gunner B. All right, Survey Tech C, interference in play area, no. Shared space with an enemy unit, yes. So it will be attacking Corpsec Z. Corpsec Z with 2 dice. Needs a 4+. Wow, 2 natural 10s, and that should neutralize Corpsec Z. Let's see, there's 1 in the supply. Let me make sure there's none in the deck. Or the discard pile, for that matter. My deck's gotten pretty big this game. But nope. Corpsec Z has been completely neutralized. So that's 1 unit neutralized for the breakers. And I suppose if the goal of the scenario is to try to neutralize units, probably the point of the exercise to start taking these guys out. All right, so Survey Tech C is done. B is going after Scout Z with 2 dice. Also getting a success, also gross. Let's see, Scout Z. I'm probably going to have to go into the deck for that one. Yep. Okay. And then Nail Gunner B isn't doing much of anything. It's not... Nail Gunner B's all the way up here. Let's see what it's doing. 2 is moving, so it'll move in and crowd in after the scout. So that's all done. Now I'll draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yikes. Well, I think we're going to risk initiative on an interference because I don't like having 2 of those in my hand. So let's see what happens here for the initiative. It's a 7, so they will take the initiative. 3 cards. Yikes. They're going to be busy. So Squad Leader C, matching card in the play area, yes. They will inspire. So next matching cards, we've got 2 C's there. So that one's done. Survey Tech C is attacking the scout. It needs a 5 or higher. Which there's a success there. So Scout Z. I think we established there were more of those in the deck. So there actually should be a scouted marker here as well for the breakers. All right, that was their first activation. Now they're doing it again. That's a success. So we go to Scout Z. Actually, was that it? I did have a Scout Z in my hand. Let me make sure that I'm not completely empty on Scout Z's. I think I am, though. Yeah, that's my last Scout Z, so that one is neutralized now. That's problematic. All right, so that Survey Tech is done. Survey Tech B, matching cards, no. Matching control unit adjacent to unscouted objective. Pathfind 1 to the nearest objective. No. Bolster 2 and matching Squad B, so they will bolster another Survey Tech B. That's done. Nail Gunner. Nothing to attack there, nothing to suppress, so it's rolling a die. 6 is trying to suppress, but there's nothing to suppress. Then Nail Gunner C again. 4, now it's trying to move, and it'll move toward a mech. So it's going to move toward Vulcan. So they're done, and now it's my turn, and I've got a big problem on my hands here. Actually, move. Hold on. I think we established that they can't move through unscouted spaces. Solving a bot procedure. Okay. Yeah. Actually, that unit can't scout. So that seems a little bit... All right, so I don't think the Nail Gunner can actually scout. That brings us back to our turn. Let's see. The interference does nothing. It's going to be a waste. Oop. Hold on. Just knocked over one of my lights. Well, let's see. Where was the rest of my hand? This couldn't have been my hand. And now I lost my hand. That's delightful. Scout Z just got neutralized. So these are all out of the game. Now I only had one card left in my hand. Trying to see if I can find it here. Corpsec Y, maybe that was it. No, I think that was a neutralization. I think that was neutralized earlier. I didn't drop it behind the... I didn't drop it behind the table, did I? No. Well, that's kind of irritating. I seem to have lost my hand. So I guess I'm not doing anything this turn. That is very unfortunate. 2, 3, 4. So I'm going back into my turn, and my hand looks very disgusting at this point. Just looking at what I drew. 2 interferences and 2 Corpsec Ys. Which one of those is not... Which I need to get the mechs moving is what I need to do. I guess I'm going to use an interference for scouting, or for initiative, even though I know full well I'm going to lose it. And an interference for them means they keep the initiative. So they will draw... Actually, they'll leave that in their play area because there are cards that can impact it. None of which I think these are, though. So Supervisor, need a D10. That's a 1, so they're bolstering from... 3 is Squad B, which there's nothing left for Squad B for them. That's their discard pile. So Supervisor's done. Nail Gunner doesn't have anything to attack, and it really can't do anything right now because this space hasn't been scouted by them yet. So both these Nail Gunners go to waste. Then as for me, let's see, the interference also goes to waste, and I've got 2 Corpsec Ys. So it's moving 1, and then it's going to move another 1 as well, 1 over there. All right, so that all goes to the discard pile. And I think I'm really starting to reach a point with this game where I'm really starting to get the general idea of it, but I feel like it's going to take too long. I've got a few other things to do today, so I think that's where I'm going to tap out on this one. Like I said, my initial impressions, this one says it's supposed to be a 60-minute game, I think. Let me pull up the box bottom here, which I'll need to do in a minute anyway. Here we go. 45 to 60 minutes. I don't know if it was just me learning this game or what, but it's also really not clicking for me so far. I don't know. I'm not really liking this one. This feels like one I probably should like, but it's just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's giving me those Combat Commander vibes where I'm like, I don't know about this one. But this one isn't clicking for me, and the narrative just, for me, I've discovered as I've gotten into wargaming that the narrative is really one of the most important aspects of my experience in wargaming. And the narrative to me in this game, at least, just doesn't really feel like it's popping out. I mean, yes, there are pieces of it here and there. Like you're out scouting these locations, trying to figure out where the enemies are, running into interference on occasion, but it's not really that, what's the word I want? It's not completely instinctive to me, if that makes sense. And again, maybe I'm just a little bit salty that things were not going very well for me here, but it's just, this one, I'm rambling a bit, but The point I'm trying to get to is this game is not clicking for me. Maybe I just need to play it again when I've got some fresher eyes. But that'll do it for this playthrough of Undaunted 2200 Callisto. Rather than ramble, we're going to wrap this video up. Later this afternoon, we will have Game 5 of the American League Championship Series between the California Angels and the Detroit Tigers. Ron Romanek will be starting for the Angels, and Dan Petrie will be starting for the Tigers. Wednesday, we're going to be playing Star Wars Force and Destiny by Edge Studio. I've got to figure out exactly when Pinot with Phoenix is going to be. I think that's going to be on Monday. I'll look at the schedule by the time I go live. By later in the week, I'll know for sure what the exact schedule looks like. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will conclude Out of the Dungeons and Dragons Flavors of the Multiverse cookbook with the drink Erlenmeyer's Dragonfire Punch. Next week, we're going to be playing another game off of my War Room list as we play Twilight 2000 by Free League Publishing. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.